Welcome back, boys and girls. Today we're going to read a story about a very unusual kangaroo named Adelaide. What do you know about kangaroos? Did you know that they live in Australia? And Adelaide is actually the name of a city in South Australia. Well, let's find out what happened to Adelaide the flying kangaroo. Adelaide's parents were surprised when they saw that their daughter had wings. As Adelaide grew, her wings became larger and larger. She liked to look at birds and airplanes passing over the desert and wished she could too. So one day she kissed her parents goodbye and flew away. Adelaide followed the first plane she met. The pilot was astonished. When they finally landed, they were met by a cheering crowd. Nobody had ever seen a flying kangaroo before. The next day, they flew on. When Adelaide was tired, she rested on the top of the plane. They stopped at many places. In India, they visited a rich Maharaja. When they reached Paris, Adelaide decided to stop traveling. With a tear in her eye, she said goodbye to her dear friend the pilot. She was inspected by the customs officials. Outside the airport, Adelaide got into a taxi, but she did not know she would have to pay for a trip. She had no money and was embarrassed when the driver shouted at her. However, a nice gentleman, Monsieur Marius, was passing by. He paid her fare. Monsieur Marius saw that Adelaide was tired and hungry, so he invited her to dinner in a fine restaurant. Then he took her on a trip through Paris. From the top of the Eiffel Tower, he pointed out many interesting sights. Together, they visited all the monuments and museums. They saw many winged statues. At Notre Dame, Adelaide was frightened by the fierce gargoyles, but the peaceful angels comforted her. Monsieur Marius, who owned a music hall, offered Adelaide a job in his show. She became an overnight success. Soon, the city was covered with her picture. Adelaide led a happy life, but she often wished she knew another kangaroo. Then one day, when she was taking a walk, she came upon a blazing fire. A woman was crying and screaming. Her 2 children were in the house. Taking a deep breath, Adelaide flew through the smoke toward the children. She put the baby in her pouch and the little girl on her back. But the load was too heavy and she couldn't fly. She fell all the way down. Adelaide was hurt, but the 2 children were safe. Adelaide was put in an ambulance. When she awoke in the hospital, the grateful mother and her children were there with flowers and sweets. Monsieur Marius brought Adelaide magazines and newspapers. They were full of stories about her bravery. After a while, Adelaide could walk again with the help of a nurse. She made little trips to a nearby zoo. There, she met another kangaroo called Leon. They fell in love. Adelaide went to see the zoo director. She made him understand that she wished to marry Leon. The director gave her a signed paper, and Leon was released. Soon they were married. Leon and Adelaide had many children. They were the most striking family of kangaroos the world had ever seen. Adelaide was truly happy and realized that her adventures could only have happened with her special set of wings. The end. Boys and girls, let's see if you can answer a few questions. What is unusual about Adelaide? Where did she end up living? How did she become a hero? If you are fond of kangaroos, I would recommend a great song that I'm going to put a link to in the description to this video. Enjoy the song and happy reading. See you next time. Bye.